Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sorry I Like This podcast. My name is Ezra, and today I'm joined by Caleb as always. Caleb, how you doing?
I'm
I'm
doing
doing
great.
great.
Doing
Doing
great.
great.
Man,
Man,
Ezra, I
Ezra, I
haven't
haven't
seen you
seen you
since
since
last
last
year.
year.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's been a whole 2 weeks since we saw each other. Uh, yeah, first official episode of 2026, which is a
That's
little
right.
ironic because we are going to spend today looking back at 2025. I will say, riding a bit of a high right now. I just released my Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond the Horizon review for RP Gamer. It is completely spoiler free, I think, unless you count. There are cliffhangers inside of subseries, but if you know anything about anything, you know that these characters exist. Anyways, it's pretty much spoiler free. I don't talk about any of like the end game stuff or anything like that. So please go read it. It was an honor to do that on RP Gamer. I glazed the heck out of it. I joked to my dad that it was kind of like trying to objectively review Infinity War for me. Like it was because I thought it was that good. Um, in terms of at least in terms of the broader trail series. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of riding that high right now. So if I glaze some other 2025 releases that might be related to that, bear with me is what I'm gonna say. Um, but today, yeah, we're gonna be going back over 2025. We're gonna talk about some of the like major news stories that happened. Obviously, we had an entire console launch this year,
We
We
did.
did.
which I think is easy to forget about because the Switch 2 is very much a like an iterative console rather than like the big leaps we're used to,
Mhm.
Mhm.
especially with Nintendo. Nintendo is usually the ones who like shake things up every time, and they didn't do that with this time, which I
Yeah,
think,
it's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
kind
like
of
the
like the
Wii.
Wii.
It's kind
It's
of
kind
like
of
the
like the
Wii to
Wii
the
to the
Wii
Wii
U
U
era.
era.
yeah, even though this is one of the most like one of the fastest selling consoles of all time.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
100%.
100%.
The
I'm
success
more
level is completely in different stratospheres, but you make a good
exactly.
point. You absolutely make a good point. I think honestly the Wii U was probably a bigger like news story back in the day in terms of like
Yeah.
Yeah.
people talking about it, because the Switch 2 is like it's here and things are getting released on the Switch 2. Like the game key card situation is kind of the biggest deal. That's like the main thing that people are talking about. Um and that's, I don't want to say a nothing burger, but it's kind of it's a small slice of the pie, let's just say. Um, so yeah, we're kind of gonna be going month by month, and release by release. Uh, yeah, Caleb, do you have anything you want to say before we get started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
actually
actually
do.
do.
I
I
have
have
just
just
kind of
kind of
a
a
little
little
bit
bit
more of a
more of a
context
context
situation
situation for
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 our
our
viewers
viewers
here
here
today,
today,
our
our
listeners.
listeners.
The this
This
year,
year,
I
I
think
think
I'm gonna
I'm gonna
kind of
kind
give
of give
a
a
little
little
overall
overall
feeling to
feeling
the
to the
year
year
real
real
quick
quick
before we
before we
go
go
kind of go
kind of go
month
month
by
by
month
month
Yeah.
and
and
everything.
everything.
I
I
think
think
that
that
this
this
year,
year,
we were
we're
kind of
kind of
talking
talking
about
about
this
this
before the
before the
podcast.
podcast.
It
It
has
has
been
been
a
a
year
year
of
of
like
like
it's
it's
a
a
bit of
bit
a
of a
drier
drier
year.
year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the I came into this year being like, this is the year of my I kind of already saw the wave coming. I know for myself, these past 2 years has been pretty dry for me. So it's kind of like this year, going into this past year, I was like, I had a little bit more of a backup plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I made it the year of made it the year of Final Fantasy. So that's just kind of a little bit of my context. But I know, Ezra, you were kind of echoing those same thoughts a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we kind of I don't know if we mentioned this on the podcast, but I played most, if not all, I played most of the Game of the Year nominees, except for Death Stranding.
Yeah.
And uh and obviously there were, smaller titles here and there and stuff like that. And I think I have generally kind of my ear to the ground on like more of the major indies. So I think that kind of like Silk Song I played release day, I think. Even though I'm not a big fan of Hollow Knight, I was like, I gotta at least check this out. Um, and obviously, Donkey Kong and all this stuff that I played. So I think, but I think generally speaking, in terms of like my tastes, honestly, like not to bring it up again right after mentioning it, but Trails is, I think, kind of the only major franchise that I was like pretty deep into this year in terms of like releases, because they had two coming out this year. One of them, in fairness, was like it had been out in Japan for 2 years and finally made its way to the States situation.
Yeah.
But the other one was a global release. So yeah, I think I just say, I think, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy really weren't here this year. Sonic had a presence with Crossworlds, but obviously didn't really have a major like platformer to show. And Mario, the Switch 2 didn't release with Mario. It released with Mario Kart, but not a 3D Mario game or a Zelda game, which makes perfect sense, right? Like the I imagine those teams are pretty down in the trenches right now. So yeah, I think it's in terms of like major franchises, this was a pretty quiet year.
Yeah, as far as like I mean, even my franchises, like you said, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, I mean, God of War, anything from Marvel, really. Like,
Yeah, pretty much. Sony didn't really have like a huge franchise release this year either.
Aside from Ghost of Yotai, but
yeah,
I ironically did not play it. And I can't tell you why I didn't get around to it.
Yeah,
because I did love the first one.
I can tell you personally, from my perspective on Ghost of Yotei, I can tell you that I think the game just looked way too similar to the first one to me.
I agree. Yeah.
Like it didn't give me the vibes that they were gonna like, because I never finished Tsushima, and it was mostly just because I wasn't like a huge fan of the enemy design in that game, and it kind of frustrated me. And that was back in the day when I was like, I'm not turning on easy mode. Nowadays I'll do it. Nowadays I'm just like, I want to play. I want to see what this game has at least.
Right.
But yeah, I think Yotei just didn't look like it was actually addressing my personal like feelings about Tsushima, so I was like, it's not gonna be for me. I'm okay with that. Like, it's not I don't have to play every single game that releases. If I try, then I will surely die. So I think and then Microsoft, right? We'll talk about it probably come June. I mean, what a year, right? Like, in a bad way. So I think we have a lot to talk about. So let's just start with coming into 2025. 2024 was very much the year where, like, well, let me backtrack just a hair. Ben Starr, when he was doing the awards cycle for Final Fantasy 16, he which was in 2023, he was very candid about, this is a great year for releases, and 2023 is one of the most stacked years the industry has seen in a very, very long time. Let us not forget. He was like, it's a great year. Yeah. Great year for releases and terrible year for developers, right? 2024, I would say the feelings got even more dire in 2024. It just layoffs just kept happening. Games were getting canceled, all this stuff, right? Obviously, AI is on the scene, and that's starting to disrupt things. 2025, I think, on the whole, I think everybody was kind of nervous about the continuation of that. And aside from Microsoft, generally speaking, I think we came out a little better on the developer side. Not as many layoffs, not I don't think it felt like games were getting canceled left and right. It didn't feel like studios were getting shut down constantly. So I think
24 was quite a wild time for that.
Yeah.
In comparison to what this year was.
Yeah, like, again, Microsoft notwithstanding. And that was, in fairness, that was part of a larger restructuring. Like, I think they laid off
company-wide.
Yeah, like, it was a huge layoff.
It wasn't even just into gaming. It was just the company itself.
So, obviously that doesn't make it better, but it does contextualize it a little bit. So yeah, I think that was kind of the feelings going in, and I think on the other side, I think we can safely say it was at least. I think it came out ahead of that, which is good. In terms of huge releases, the biggest one that I'm seeing is the PC ports of Spider-Man 2 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, which I put quite a bit of time into FF this year on PC, even though I played it on PS5 last year. And yeah, I think that's pretty much maybe Donkey Kong Country Returns HD counts. I reviewed Tales of Grace's F Remastered for RP Gamer. And Ninja Gaiden 2 Black I think that game got announced alongside Ninja Gaiden 4. Alongside the announcement of Ninja Gaiden 4. So people I think there was a reinvigoration of the Ninja Gaiden 3D action games. So that was pretty cool to see at the time. In terms of news stories, I think it's mostly stuff that we'll kind of talk about as time goes on. Obviously, the Switch 2 rumors are just out of hand.
Yeah.
At this point.
Right? Yeah, because they waited so close to release that it was just wild at that point.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up because I think sorry, I'm typing and talking, but I think at CES, which I wasn't gonna mention CES, but I think it's relevant. I think the Switch 2, I think there was like a company that claimed they had a Switch 2 off of like the black market or something. Yeah. I'm parroting something that I remember from like months ago now.
Yeah.
And I think when did they? Oh, they showed. Okay, the first look was actually in January. It was on the 16th of 2025.
Gotcha. But that was when it was going wild. Yeah.
And then they were like, "Here's this direct with we have a direct for you in April or something like that."
Right.
Maybe March. Which at the time I was like, that's crazy, dude. But yeah, so like Nintendo Switch 2 stuff was pretty much at a fever pitch in January. So yeah, that's kind of January. Caleb, did you have anything you wanted to add about January? Did you play anything in January? Oh, I should mention. Sorry.
Go ahead.
We are also going to pepper in, I think, safe to say, there's one game that comes to mind when you think of, sorry, I like this in 2025 and Game of the Year. We will mention it when it arrives. So what we've done is we have like a non-numbered top 4 that we will pepper in as we kind of it's going to be games that we played, not necessarily released, and we'll pepper them in around the times that we played them. So Caleb, anyways, the floor is yours.
So January I started my I'm pretty sure I started like on January 1st. I started at the beginning of the year. I started the year of Final Fantasy.
Yes,
was the goal, and my goal was to get to all at least what was it, 12 or all of them? I can't remember.
I think you stated all of them.
Okay, I did say state all of them. Well, I failed miserably on that, but I was off to a strong start in January. January, I played. I know we talked about it on the podcast February, but in January I played Final Fantasy 1 and 2. Both took about 2 weeks to beat. They weren't entirely long to beat. That said, I do have one of them on my top 4 this year. If we're not including Expedition 33. And that's actually Final Fantasy 2.
Okay.
And that Final Fantasy 2 is sitting at the number 3 spot. If you're not including Expedition 33, so 4 technically. But
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Final Fantasy 2 was a That was a fun one. When you go from one, it's very simplistic. It's all, it's very much save the kingdom type of thing. Like it's perfect for the game that it was at the time, and
Yeah.
then but two, you really like. I still remember the opening moments of two very vividly. Um, I really enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed like how they decided to um make the characters more personable. That it was really about an empire, like that empire antagonist type of feeling that a lot of the Final Fantasy games have. Like it felt like more like a Final Fantasy game than the first one did. Um, it's kind of weird that um, I don't that this has to be like a a knock to it. I guess like one of the biggest things that about Final Fantasy 2 that I kind of was disappointed in was the fact that they rushed the crystal storyline. And
Oh,
because
sure.
every Final Fantasy has like a crystal storyline to it, and it's really kind of like you go into a room and it's like surprise there's crystals, and they give you a few powers, but it's not like significant. They're like strength boosts.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Um, so they're not like entirely you know anything, but the final boss, if I remember correctly, was gimmicky.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember 2 and 3 being very gimmicky, so like those are like some things that kind of knock it a little bit. But overall, like 2, I really enjoyed. It's kind of hard sometimes where I'm like, did I like 2 or 4 better?
Sure.
But I really enjoyed 2, and that set a high bar for what was to come for me. So, which is kind of crazy and to think of, but
Yeah.
since it was only the second one. So, yeah, that's kind of how I was during that time. You know, um, yeah. So I was off to a really strong start.
And I think it
Start.
was also around this time where we did. I think I assigned Tales of Berseria as your book club. Well, assigned. You chose it in the bracket.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah, because I start. That's right. Yep. No, you're right. Because in February, I attempted to start it, and that's when things started to get crazy with the
and
wedding.
that's when the Fire Nation attacked. Yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
um. Yeah. So moving on to February, we had our first major uh like critical darling release in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I also did not play that one. I always forget about it.
Yeah. Me too. It's okay.
So that was another hole in my year. But and then
But even then, I don't even think it was that like largely special as far as like industry wide. Like this is going to be like an actual game of the year contender.
yeah, I mean, I think
What I'm saying?
yeah, I mean, I think people really, really liked it, but yeah, I think
Right.
it was one of those things where I don't know. It's one of those things where it's hard to like look back on how like what the temperature was in January a whole year back. Just because it's like now we know, right, like what the results of all of that were, how people generally feel. Um, like there was a lot, and there was a lot that we didn't know at the time. Like we didn't know about Donkey Kong. We didn't know that Silk Song was gonna release in 2025. Like there was a lot. So yeah, I think it's hard to I think it's hard to gauge that, but I think you're probably right. I think generally speaking, Kingdom Come, had it released in like August or something like that, maybe would have had a better shot. But I think just the distance that was created by releasing in January or early February was difficult to overcome. The other big thing was Monster Hunter Wilds came out.
See, that was big.
Yeah.
As far as like to a wider audience type of thing. Now, obviously they didn't get nominated, nor do I think it was close to getting nominated. But that to me was like the big release.
Yeah, that was I think that was like the huge January release or February release, sorry, of the year. And I think honestly, I think that game has pretty much fallen out of favor for a lot of people. And obviously neither of us are Monster Hunter guys, so
No.
it's really hard to speak on why, but I think I think the feeling that I get is like the systems it tried to be for everyone, and so it appealed to no one. Like that is kind of the like it's a really harsh way of saying it, but I think that's kind of the vibe. I actually tried it out, and I always try Monster Hunter, and I'm like this time for sure, and it just never it never sticks. So I think that's the vibe that I get, but don't quote me too hard on that. In terms of news, I think Switch 2 stuff kind of cooled down. There's a state of play. We got Sonic Racing Cross Worlds got announced. The they showed.
They had to have shown Ghost of Yotai, right?
I don't know if they did. I don't know if they did. State of play. Oh, they showed more Borderlands 4.
Yeah. Because that was about to come out, wasn't it?
Oh wait, this is. Oh yeah, this is February. They showed Borderlands 4. That was still a few months away, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Lies of P DLC was there.
Oh, okay.
Lost Soul Aside was there. MGS Delta. Saros.
Yeah. Was that when it got initially revealed? Saros?
I think. Yeah, this was the CG trailer.
Had to have been. Yeah.
I think it was the one more thing. And then they had Tides of Annihilation was announced here, I think.
Oh, that was really announced there?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought that was Game Awards.
No, it was no. I think it was that State of Play. Well, so yeah, honestly,
it was 10 months ago.
Yeah. Honestly, looking back on that State of Play, I think it's interesting how substantive to the year that State of Play ended up being. Obviously, not huge stuff. Saros is hardly a Sony juggernaut, but there's a lot of stuff in there that, like, there's Death Stranding 2 trailer, Split Fiction, Monster Hunter, like there's all this stuff. I think
overall that could have been the best one this year.
Yeah, it had a chance.
Yeah.
So it certainly had a chance. I think the Nintendo Direct probably.
No, I meant as far as Sony goes.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that was kind of the like biggest thing. Yeah, I think that was like the biggest like news piece. There was a lot of stuff. I think a lot of like the industry wide stuff started in like July is kind of my feeling.
Yeah.
I guess like I guess we should maybe underpin this entire walkthrough with look back at the year with like what is Xbox doing, and we'll talk about more of that with I think around when we get to Summer Game Fest. But yeah, do you have anything else you wanted to mention about February?
No, during this time I was pretty much I was like I attempted to start Tales, and then I attempted to start Final Fantasy 3, but there was some wedding prep stuff that started to like really take over as far as my attention goes. So it was like at that point it was really hard. It was harder than I expected for February. I thought like I remember vividly like every every weekend in February all of a sudden just got booked up. You know what I mean? Like it was just like it was like a snap of a finger. And so largely February and a little bit of pretty much March as well. That was probably the least amount of gaming I did all year, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. No, I definitely hear that. And it was definitely a I remember just like texting you at the time and feeling like this is yep, he's getting married. like I was a little bit like, yeah, this is probably what both of us should have expected.
No, absolutely. I went, it was an amazing time, and I kind of missed the planning of it a little bit, but it's
you
February,
we
March,
don't. There's no like regrets about it. It's just like
absolutely not.
It's just the time there was like a readjustment of expectations, maybe.
Yeah. And largely this first half of the year is kind of determinant of that. I should say February, March, April. It was really May when things started to get back into swing of things. As far as the games go, but
yeah, as far as actually playing, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, May introduced its own problem, which we will surely talk about. But yeah. So moving on to April, or no, March. Sorry, moving on to March. We So there was. I think honestly, this list for March is way more stacked than February, which is kind of odd because February is kind of hailed as like the second, like people kind of think of it at the same breath of like October, right? But I don't think that was the case in 2025. We got Sorry, my brain short circuited. Split Fiction came out in March. Caleb and I played that game together. Uh, the Unfortunately, there was like some weird audio stuff with the playthrough. I was hoping to upload it, but or at least do like a highlights reel, but we just that didn't end up manifesting.
That was so heartbreaking. You know, it was like we had a lot of fun with that game. Like Split Fiction was okay. I'm just gonna say it. This is number two on my list. If I'm counting Expedition 33. So it was a lot of fun. Like the gameplay just was a wild trip.
Yeah.
Did it kind of get a little repetitive towards the end? Yeah, but like, was it like it was just?
Then the
Go
final
ahead.
chapter. I was just gonna say. Then the final chapter pulled
Oh,
some
yeah,
really
goes
trippy stuff on you.
goes completely off the rails, and yeah, it was this game was largely like I think the weakest part of that game is its story,
Yeah.
but as far as gameplay wise, that was really fun. It was a treat to play that game, and and especially like Ezra and I kind of like experiencing it together at the same time. That it was so fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, things like this happen though. As far as losing recordings and stuff, it just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, I'll echo a lot of what you said about Split Fiction. I think for me the writing was maybe a bigger letdown just because I was like it's a story about stories and all that stuff. Like I kind of I think I hold that against it a little bit more.
Right. Well, you're playing a game that's like so off script, so to speak, as far as gameplay goes.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's just completely wild and like
Yeah.
hard to. It's not. It's much less formulaic.
Yeah.
And then you get to the actual story and meat of it, and it's like, yeah, this is like textbook writing. you know.
Yeah, it was very textbook, very like very by the book standard like cinematic action millennial writing. um but yeah, like I it was the first game I think both of us have played in the like Joseph Ferris co-op cinematic action framework. And it was a total blast from like a presentation and gameplay standpoint. I think the only thing I would have maybe asked is like like a hair more variety in the main levels in terms of like visuals. Otherwise, in terms of releases, at least, Xenoblade Chronicles X got re-released, so that kind of closed the loop on Xenoblade games that hadn't been on Switch yet. So if you want to play that entire, it's not really a quadrilogy because X is disconnected from the numbered titles in terms of. At least as far as 3 is concerned. But then I played a little bit of First Berserker Kazan, which is a roguelike. I played or not a roguelike, a Souls-like that's based on like the Dungeon Fighter Online series. And it's a well-made game, and people really liked it. The Souls-like that I put more time into was AI Limit, which is I reviewed for RP Gamer, and I ended up really enjoying it. The another big game that came out was Assassin's Creed Shadows, and that was tangled up in just tons and tons of controversy, mostly bad faith culture war stuff that I don't think we want to get into.
No.
But yeah, I think that was kind of the main things. I think there's, maybe not like the titans that are, Monster Hunter and Kingdom Come, but Split Fiction and Assassin's Creed and Kazan and all these things definitely made an argument. And I want to say, just because it came out, it didn't come out. This is a 2023 game. Sanabi, I played in March of this year, or of last year. It's weird. It's always weird to say last year in January because you're only like a month out.
Or in this case, 8 months. I mean, 8 days.
Yeah, 8 days. But yeah, I played Sanabi in March of last year. Really brief explanation on what it is. It's like an indie 2D platformer that is basically like, what if PS4 Spider-Man meets cyberpunk action, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, and 2D platforming. And the result is like one of the greatest like motion-based platformers I've ever played. This is my number 4 for the year.
Gotcha.
Number 4 out of 4 for the year. And yeah, I just remember looking back, and for one thing, the narrative is just superb. Like it's one of those, like, even though I think the translation is like a little awkward, even though it's like that, it's like it is a really well done like mystery, and the tone is just perfect. The like late game reveals are mind-blowing. Like it is there's some really, really good stuff in Sanabi. It's one of the best like 7 or so hours that I've played. 8.5. So yeah, I think it's one of those games that I'm just like, it's one of those tiny indies that nobody ever hears about, that you're just like, man, this is really good. And it's really, really fun too. It's one of those games that, like, oh, and I wanted to mention, like, I've never seen narrative presentation in a 2D game, in a 2D like indie platformer that was quite like this. I'm a big fan of, like, your Mega Mans and your I always glaze the heck out of like the Gunvolt games, and obviously Sonic and Mario and this stuff, but I've never seen cinematic presentation in a 2D plane that was quite like I saw in Sanabi. So like I remember there's this shot where these two characters are like standing on a cliff and they look out over the cityscape, and then there's the like blink of a missile, and then it immediately like shoots into frame, and I'm like, I've never seen a 2D game do it quite like that. So yeah, I think absolutely worth your time. Definitely go play it. So, in terms of news, I'm having a hard time finding like the uh like where the temperature was at. I think there was obviously April there was some stuff surrounding pricing that we'll get into. But the in terms of March, I think it's a little bit more like things are kind of under the surface. I think it was more about like the releases than anything else. So, did you have anything you wanted to mention about March before we get going?
No, I think that's about it. We were working on split fiction during this time, so there wasn't much to
Yep.
expand on for me.
In April, Caleb got married. Woo!
Woohoo!
Yeah,
it was.
Mr. and Mrs. Wise. Does she have your last name? Is that a thing?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
I didn't know. I wasn't sure. I didn't want to assume. So yeah, that honestly, that was kind of the bulk of our month in terms of like things that happened. That was more of obviously an IRL thing. The podcast I think kind of came up like right up until the end. Like right up like I think like 2 weeks before we managed to do a podcast. But yeah, I mean, let's see what to talk about with April. Let's dance around it a little bit. The The Last of Us 2 got a remaster.
Oh
no! That came out on PC. Sorry, Last of Us 2 remaster came out on PC,
Gotcha.
and probably the original Last of Us didn't get a PC port, so this one's okay. That one's fine. The Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which is a Bethesda Microsoft game, came to PS5. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remastered got a remake. Or it says remaster, but I thought at least graphically, I think it's a pretty like top down experience. Yeah. Oh, what else? Forza Horizon 5 came to PS5 from Xbox. So we're starting to see a theme with Xbox in April a little bit here. But obviously the massive release that came out in April that turned the entire games industry on its head was Clair Obscur Expedition 33. And I will not beat around the bush any longer. This is the podcast's game of the year.
Without any contest.
No contest. I think we talked so much about this game. We released a 7-hour podcast this year. 3 of those hours were us glazing Clair Obscur. So we don't need to go too much into it, but I a lot has been said about Clair Obscur online. I think one of those things that happened. One of those things that I always love seeing happen is people who pick up Clair Obscur and they're like, all right, let's see if it lives up to the hype, I guess. And
Yeah,
they play it, and they're like, oh yeah, this is really good. So I think, give it a chance. I'm not gonna say it's for everybody, but spectacular game, even more spectacular soundtrack, and I cannot wait to see what Sandfall has next for us in 5 years. Caleb, what do you want to say about Clair Obscure?
I'll just say during this time, obviously, it was the heat of the wedding. It was an amazing time, and we both had the intentions of picking this up, even without outside reviews, really kind of
Yeah.
making making us do it. Like you got it day one. I was gonna wait a few, obviously because of the wedding. I was gonna wait until after.
Oh yeah.
And then you actually got that as a wedding gift for me.
Yeah.
So that was really great timing. And all I remember is you being so excited for me to play it. But you and I both knew that it was like, this is an impossible time for me to do it. And
right about to go off for 2 weeks and on a cruise outside of America.
Yep. And so it was just kind of one of those things of like,
yeah,
I was happy to get it, and I'm like, awesome, this is perfect, but yeah, I didn't do anything in April specifically. Like I don't even think I touched the controller in April. Aside from maybe one time when we did Split Fiction.
Yeah, I think we did Split Fiction at least once in April. But yeah. But yeah, go play Clair Obscura if you haven't. I will pivot here because there was one thing that's on my list. Oh wait, I didn't play it. I didn't play it this month, but it came out this month, so I'll save it. Never mind.
Okay.
So for May, May had kind of a lot of stuff. Doom: The Dark Ages. Oh wait, no. News April. Sorry, I moved. I was moving a little too fast. In April, President Donald J. Trump, who I am always loath to mention on this podcast, he announced these tariffs. Now, neither of us are financial experts. Caleb, I think, is probably the more financially wise of the two of us, just given the nature of his job. But neither of us are experts on tariff law, so obviously we're not going to comment on the tariffs themselves. However, this caused literally everything in the games industry in some way, shape, or form to go up in price.
Yep.
Nintendo had their Nintendo Switch 2 reveal. It was great. There was a lot of great stuff in there. And Mario Kart.
Like a day later.
Yeah. Well, then
it was a day later.
Yeah. It was not far off where they announced that the pre-order window was going to shrink or was going to be delayed because they weren't sure about how the tariffs were going to affect things. Mario Kart World was announced at $80. Now, obviously, we don't know for sure whether or not the tariffs were the reason for that, because this was probably planned well in advance of the announcement. Obviously, Trump always talks a big game about tariffs, so that's always like a lingering threat with Donald Trump specifically. But yeah, we don't know if Mario Kart's price was a result of that. I think Donkey Kong came out at the same price point. Accessories are hiking, and were hiking at that time. So yeah, I mean, I think prices were just they continue to spiral out of control in every aspect of life. If you look at like the consumer PC market, like RAM and GPUs and all this stuff, like they're exploding in price. I'm like, man, I'm glad I bought, like, I'm glad I upgraded when I did, because holy crap. So yeah, Caleb, I ranted about this, I think 2 episodes ago. So I've kind of exhausted what I have to say about that.
Yeah.
But do you have anything you want to mention about pricing before we?
I think it's specifically like it. I don't know what the full numbers were for this holiday season, but I can tell you just from my own experience how more conservative I have gotten with my choices as far as what kind of games or accessories or hell even consoles, because still not sitting on a Switch 2 here. You know what I mean? Like the I mean it's effective.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'd probably have a Switch 2 if it wasn't for that right now. I'd be pretty darn close to it. I'd imagine, but so I mean it. The only thing I'll say is with this moment in time, it really opened the floodgates of a really sealed, like it's almost like a dam, and there's like a crack that just like all of a sudden just completely like broke the dam.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like it for the longest time, the gaming industry, there were set standards with pricing, with the hope to be more consumer friendly,
Yeah.
to help boost sales that were like attachments was a big thing as far as the sales of the gaming industry's
Yeah.
way of earning, like DLCs or cosmetics or even like actual physical accessories and stuff like that. Like that was where the sales aspect really profited during that time.
Yeah.
But it was almost like they couldn't do any kind of price increase because it was a big no-no that they would get a lot of heat for it. This series of events, I think helped, not necessarily helped, it really caused this whiplash of price increases that I think we would have never expected prior to that.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and I think it's interesting because Nintendo led the charge on that, right? Like, I think the Switch 2 was a little expensive for people, right? Just as a console by itself. And then Mario Kart being $80 is like, whoa, that's a choice. And yeah, and then Microsoft followed suit. People talk about GTA 6 as if it's definitely going to come out at $100, which I don't know if that's a sure thing, but it feels a lot more likely than it was to a year ago.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really like the prevailing it was like kind of the prevailing thing of like Expedition 33 came out at I think $40, 40 or $50.
Mm-hmm.
And then like on the flip side, the AAA industry was increasing again to 70 to $80. And it's like, oh, the contrast is really uh is is really striking there. So and I think this is kind of another thing that really underpins a lot of 2025. It's like video games are getting way too expensive as a hobby, right? Because I think the PS5 and the Xbox consoles both got price hikes this year.
Mm-hmm.
I
think Xbox got two price hikes actually.
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken.
I think PS5 maybe it did. Yeah, I think it may have gotten price hikes in other regions.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
But not in the U.S., which is, honestly, I kind of, I hate to say this, but as an American citizen, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'd kind of rather things be cheaper for people overseas just because I know how much people pay for just like proportionally.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of like those luxury items end up costing a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, I am I'm loath to say Americans should pay more, but I'm just saying that like, and I don't want anybody to pay more, but I just think it's one of those things where I'm like, man, it sucks that it got raised anywhere. So yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where it's unfortunate that real life intrudes on the hobby a little bit, but but that didn't stop the industry. I tell you what, video games are releasing all the time, and there's always something to play, even if it's just on your phone. There's always something cool you can play. So in May, honestly, I'm gonna call this one a pretty soft month. We got, there's the Marvel Fighting Collection. There was the Ninja Turtles 2D brawler came out. Doom: The Dark Ages was kind of it was interesting because it came out. People seemed, I think, overall consensus was generally positive, and then it just did not stick. So yeah, I think. Oh, and then at the end of the month, Elden Ring Night Rain released. Now this is not on my top 4. And I have already spoken at length about this game, so please go listen to that episode. Long story short, I think it's pretty fun, but I also struggle with the fact that it has like a Fortnite thing, like a Fortnite circle, and is multiplayer focused, and feels very much like it coasts on the FromSoft name. Especially given how feature poor it is.
Yeah.
And I haven't played the DLC, so, when did the Switch 2 come out? I need to make sure I'm not losing my mind.
It was April 10th, I think. Somewhere around there.
No, that was when that was
you're right.
Direct. That was the direct.
Yeah.
It was in June. Yeah, it came out in June. Okay. So, May, news stories, I think generally I think people were more looking forward to Summer Game Fest and the Switch 2 release. Oops. Shoot, this is gonna be a pain, isn't it? Yeah, I think it was mostly like, yeah, I think it was sort of in a stasis period. Yeah, I'm honestly kind of struggling to think of like what to say about May, honestly, just because I'm having a hard time looking back and saying like what was happening, right? Like
there was one big thing.
Okay.
There was one big thing. Do you remember?
I don't think so.
Here I was on my honeymoon, looking out into the ocean. Well,
right. Now I remember.
Out onto the pier, or like the port of an island. And here I finally get cell service. And all of a sudden, I have been broken with the news that Kingdom Hearts Missing Link was canceled.
Yeah.
Crazy moment there. Crazy moment. And then Cage 4 screenshots the next day.
Yeah. Yep. As like yeah, it was a whiplash.
Yeah. That was a crazy 24 hours and our only bit of news for the year.
Yep. Very sad.
It was, and you know, I feel like we're feeling the effects of it now more than we did then. Where it was like, I think then it was where like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That sucks. But honestly, it was getting delayed so much that something was happening behind the scenes. And now we're just like, we need something.
Yeah.
We're starving out here.
Yep. Yeah, like I think, you know, there weren't even all that many like in terms of like news events in May.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was a state of play on April 30th for Borderlands 4. Whoop-de-doo. Why did they do a state of play for Borderlands 4? That kind of escaped me. Not even a Sony game.
Barstool paid a lot of money is what it was. Not Barstool. Why is it Barstool? Borderlands.
Oh, I thought you were saying something about like I thought you knew like parent companies, and I was like, well, I thought I didn't know Gearbox was owned by Barstool.
Why did I say that? Oh man. Borderlands.
Yeah.
Had paid a lot of money to do that. They were desperate because the movie flopping. Like it was just damage control. I think that's what that was.
Yeah. No, I get you. In terms of news stories, I'm gonna skate over the Switch 2 real quick. Just to say, obviously, Mr. Keeley had his huge Summer Game Fest extravaganza. There's honestly just so much. There was an Xbox showcase, a state of play, not a Nintendo Direct, but then obviously there was the Summer Game Fest showcase proper. So I'll start negative.
Okay.
Xbox showed a lot of cool stuff at their showcase. I think we can both agree in terms of just showcases themselves, Microsoft has been on a tear for June, right? For like the June Summer Game Fest weekend.
Yeah.
That said, a lot of those games got canceled. I can think of at least two, or no, at least one, which is Perfect Dark. They showed Perfect Dark for the first time, and now it's gone because of layoffs. They showed some, like, I'm calling it like a refresh, like a console refresh is, I think, a misnomer, because they didn't like upgrade too much. But they showed like some new SKUs, I think, for the Xbox Series. And then they showed that they were partnering with Asus, who is a computer manufacturer, to release like an Xbox edition of the ROG Ally, which is sort of like a Steam Deck equivalent. More powerful than a Steam Deck, but definitely less streamlined. And I think this was sort of like, if people didn't think that Xbox was going multi-platform before this, I think this should have been the like, oh, yeah, this thing's gonna have Steam on it. Yeah, we like, we kind of this is what's going on with Microsoft. And yeah, I just think, regardless of how you feel in terms of like the health of the industry, right? I think this is something that we've seen since as early as 2024 or 2023, right? Like, I think Phil Spencer has very obviously been pushing for that that sort of, quote unquote, like, everything is an Xbox future. Now, skipping ahead, Microsoft jumped the price of Game Pass significantly. They doubled the Ultimate subscription. I think the other one got doubled as well. Up to 30 for Ultimate, $30 a month. And so I mean, I think this is maybe opening the door to a conversation about Xbox in 2025, sort of just generally. Because I think, you and I aren't Xbox guys, right? Like, I bought an Xbox in like a few years ago now, and I sold it to my dad because I was getting rid of it because I wasn't using it. And that's not really a dig on Xbox exactly. It's just like not where my stuff is, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, you and I aren't really Xbox guys, so we're not like deeply attached to like Halo and Gears of War and all of this stuff, right?
No.
Um, but I think we can both agree that like a healthy competitor is a good competitor. Uh, and I think the state of the industry feels so in flux because of Microsoft's moves here, right? Like, because Nintendo isn't going to like rise to meet Sony, right? They don't have to. They're selling gangbusters all on their own. They don't need the competitor of PlayStation. PlayStation is chasing after Nintendo. And so in terms of like, where the power dynamics are, but PlayStation in terms of like the AAA video game industry feels like kind of the only player right now, at least in terms of first parties. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think I'm a little bummed because it feels like Microsoft. It feels like they're in a state of limbo right now, and I'd kind of rather just like rip the band-aid off and then be like, yeah, we're not manufacturing hardware anymore, and all this stuff. So how are you feeling about all of that, some of that? Do you have feelings as a non-Xbox guy?
Well, I'll largely say it left a bad taste in the mouth. It's like every time when I want to give Xbox credit, something like this happens. I'm not even joking about that. Like that is like almost if you go into the podcast archives and go into these episodes, you will see my up and down roller coaster that is with Xbox. Like there's moments where I'm like, they're doing those are some pretty awesome decisions, and then there'll be
Yep.
25% of it actually comes to fruition. Like
And then, we laid off 7,000 employees across the company. Oops.
and like it's like every time when I'm like, oh, they figured out their identity, they even go into a larger identity crisis. Like it's like my frustration with Xbox is just like I want to give you the benefit of the doubt, but you keep giving me reasons not to, and it's becoming easier and easier to not to.
Yeah.
More on that in a few months. in this podcast.
But. Yeah. So I think that's kind of like the shadow of that kind of hung over June.
Yeah.
Obviously, always some great announcements, always some hype trailers. I don't want to get in the weeds about all that stuff, just because lots of those games didn't come out this year. So yeah, I'll mostly talk about the releases, and obviously we had a whole console launch at the beginning of June.
We did.
I went to GameStop at midnight to get mine. I paid for it well ahead of time, but yeah, I got Mario, and then I bought like a few other things. Oh man, where to start? Oh man. So in terms of the Switch 2's lineup, we got Deltarune came to the console alongside the like wider release of chapters 3 and 4 for Deltarune. If you don't know, Deltarune is releasing chapter by chapter I played it because my little brother is a huge fan, and I cannot say anything definitive because it's not done yet. Obviously, Mario Kart World came out. I think that game has had a really interesting relationship with Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. In terms of like the kart racer conversation this year. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom both got Nintendo Switch 2 editions, and they run and load great. Hogwarts Legacy came out on the Switch 2. I played Rune Factory Guardians of Ozma and really enjoyed it. Let's see, later in June, Ray Chase and Company released a video game called Date Everything. I went to a panel about it in August, and it sounds like they had a really good time with it. I've tried it. I don't know what happened with my game, but I couldn't like click and stuff. So I want to go back to it because it's got like all of everybody's favorite voice actors. But and it's a cool project just in general. So I'll at some point I'll get back to you. But yeah, that's kind of a big that's kind of the broad strokes. FF16 did come out on Xbox, which is cool. Had a surprisingly good trailer at the Xbox showcase. I was like, what? This trailer is so good for a pretty a 2-year-old game at this point.
Right. I was not expecting to get hyped up over Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
2 years after the fact, and sad to say, but they probably won't do anything more with that.
Yeah.
That storyline.
Oh man. There was a Tron game that released, Tron Catalyst, on the 17th. Yeah. They're always they release like a Tron game like every like 4 years.
That's true.
Like they release like a random Tron game.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even have a Wikipedia article.
Jeez.
Oh, it's like a visual novel type thing.
Oh, okay.
Or no. Oh, no. That's Tron Identity. But this one, Tron Catalyst, is an isometric action adventure game. Okay.
Gotcha.
Anyways, yeah, thankfully I doubt that game has Jared Leto in it. I do want to talk a little bit about I'm glad I hovered over this just now. I'm glad a game called Mind's Eye came out.
Yeah.
In June.
Oh yeah.
And we are I don't like to just like dunk on video games all that much just in general, but I think that the like astronomical promises of Mind's Eye up against what turned out to be the reality I think is genuinely really funny. Because it was backed by the guy who was like, yeah, I'm the GTA guy, and the current GTA guys, they suck. So yeah, I think that's just I think that stuff is just really funny. Another funny thing, Splitgate 2 came out. If you remember, that was the guy who came out at Summer Game Fest with the Make FPS Great Again hat. And then their monetization and other stuff turned out to be so bad that they went back into beta. So so that was that. And then Death Stranding 2 came out.
Yep.
in June. So that was June. Caleb, did you play anything in June? Any of your top fours?
Well, not my top fours yet, but this was the month where I was playing Claire Obscure,
Yeah.
like in full swing. So like I put close to gosh, I couldn't even tell you how many hours I put into it, but maybe close to 100.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head. So I mean, this was the thick of it. Like I had beat the game this month, like this specific month. I hadn't done well. Yeah, I had beat the game this month, and I didn't do any of the extra stuff that was left over. So like that carried into July. So I was still pretty far from being done, but I was done from the initial story.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So yeah, it was that was a lot of fun. But yeah, that was like this was like the time where I was like back in full swing as far as gaming goes. So like there was like a 3 to 4 month stretch where I wasn't, and then now I'm kind of back in it now at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, personally, none of my I didn't have anything in my top four that I played in June. Obviously, I played a bunch of the games that came out for launch. I again have talked about a bunch of them. A bunch of the Switch 2 releases in depth previously, so feel free to go listen to those. But yeah, I think June was very much like Xbox was having an identity crisis, and then Nintendo released a whole console. So we kind of had those two things happening. And I think also around the time, I think maybe like a little bit after this month was when 6-7 started to happen. So started to infect all of us. So yeah, do you want to say anything about the month of June before we move on?
The month of June, I'd say, was for all the good. There was a lot of bad, and it just kind of felt like it equaled out. If that makes sense.
It's just pure neutral, true neutral month.
Right, which is not good for June, which is arguably in my eyes the biggest month of the year in terms of gaming.
Yeah.
So aside from maybe November with actual releases, but just like news,
yeah,
actual
in terms of
like
like
reveals, news, games that get the midsummer release. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just overall. I think it's the biggest month of the year, in my opinion. And you don't want to walk out of June being like,
yeah.
it's the best way to put it. Like, I enjoyed Claire Obscure, and that was the best distraction during that time.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. So moving on to July, in terms of major events, it was that there was a Ghost of Yote State of Play. There was a Pokemon Presents where they showed more of Pokemon Legends, ZA. But yeah, otherwise there wasn't like a whole ton of news. The SAG-AFTRA strikes for the video game actors that ended. I think
I know.
It didn't really move the needle on AI, unfortunately, but at least people were able to go back to work. And uh yeah, I remember, running in the Honkai Star Rail spaces. There was like a lot of controversy around some of that stuff. I was like, whoa. Because there were several actors who were like, yeah, we're not. There were actors who weren't coming back for the English dub, and they didn't recast them for the most part. What they did was they just had their lines be completely silent, and it was very jarring. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that was kind of my impression. I was like, this is very very strange controversies when unions are one of the best ways to protect against corporations sort of going off the rails. So
Yeah. I mean, it was a year-long battle for them. It went on for over, I think, over a year. Definitely a year. But it's just that. I mean, like you said, I think Honkai Star Rail probably got the most immediate effect of it.
yeah,
Um, I think, I think whether people want to admit it or not, and I'll still say it to this day, I think that the strikes really did put an impact on delays, um,
yeah, probably.
particularly with, like you said, overseas uh, games. The English dub's probably not coming through, um, and now these things are moving again, but it
Yeah,
takes time. You know what I mean? It's like either
yeah,
you had it prepped before, or you couldn't resume until after. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah.
just. I mean, that's the nature of a strike. But if you think about it for over a year, that's a pretty big chunk of development time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think partly we'll see an uptick in 20. I think in 2027 we will have a huge boom as far as releases go because it just matches up perfectly within the timeline of things. Um, as far as what development cycles are, on top of having to deal with not having to deal with any active strikes
Yeah.
or contract disputes or layoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like the layoffs could happen, but I don't foresee it in the future.
Yeah.
Just because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everything's already been kind of cleaned house. But the basically, long short of what I'm trying to say is the strikes is just one symptom of these past five years. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, does game development take longer? Absolutely. Than it used to? Absolutely. But when you factor in the, you know, COVID still on top of the strikes, the layoffs, and all the stuff that's been happening over the years, the stuff that was in the pipeline pre-COVID was the 2022-23 era of gaming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that things are dormant because of that. Like the strikes did not help
Yeah.
situations, and this I know when I heard it was over, I did breathe a sigh of relief because it just felt like things were going to move in the direction, like the actors are getting work again, like all that type of stuff, if that makes sense. So
Yeah. No, absolutely. Um, did you have any news topics you want to talk about with July before we any other things before we jump
not
into
not that I can think of
Okay.
off the top of my head for July.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was kind of the big thing, I think. Um And again, just a reminder, Xbox Identity Crisis, right? Like just
Right. It's
keep
still
that
carrying over into that month.
yeah, keep that in the back of your head. Biggest release for July probably goes to Donkey Kong. I played Donkey Kong. I had fun with it. I did not see there was like buzz at the time of people being like, move over Death Stranding, move over Expedition 33. It's Donkey Kong, and I played it, and I was like, I mean, it's
there was a huge like push for it during that time.
And I was like, it's not that good. I was like the tech around the like destruction admittedly is pretty cool. Like that like that stuff is pretty cool. But I, like as a video game, I was kind of like, all right, like this is it's a 3D platformer. Like it's it's very similar in structure to Mario Odyssey. So I don't know. I wasn't like super duper impressed by it. Oh, what else came out in July?
Yeah, one thing I'll say about Donkey Kong is sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Is that before you move on is that the I did get a touch taste of it.
Oh yeah,
just for like a good 10 minutes. So like very brief. But I did feel that technological achievement that you were talking about. Like
yeah.
and I think that's what kind of caused the craze for it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that's just more surrounding the hype of the Switch 2 in general. I think people are more hyped about the fact that Switch 2 is out and that they're looking for some game to really like showcase its capabilities because Nintendo hasn't really done that yet.
Yeah.
As far as their own first party stuff.
Sure.
You know. So.
And Zelda is gonna be the one, right? Like
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the big release for July, kind of a quiet July, all things considered. Again, I'm mostly avoiding reading off the entire Wikipedia list of releases,
right?
Because there's always something. I definitely there's always something to talk about with everything. So yeah, do you have a game you want to shout out for July that you played, or do you want me to move on?
July, I was still working on Expedition 33.
Okay.
I got back into Final Fantasy 3. I think in the last week of July. So yeah, no, I don't think there was anything during that time.
Yeah. I was playing Donkey Kong, and that was about it. I think that was like kind of the main thing. August is when things, in terms of like my favorite games, is when things kind of started up. So moving on to August, let me just. So there was a Nintendo Direct. It was a partner showcase. They had like a Hyrule Warriors showcase. They announced like Octopath Traveler 0 or I don't know if that was the announcement, but I think they showed it at least. Nothing too crazy. Gamescom is in August, so there was Jeff Keighley had his whole thing. We got the announcement that Silk Song would be coming out in early September. So a bunch of indie games that were planning to come out in early September moved out of the way. It was actually really funny to watch. And I'm sure kind of hectic for the actual developers.
Right.
In terms of other like big news topics, I can't really think of anything specific that happened in August aside from like Gamescom. Obviously, Microsoft, Chaos, and Square Enix, and all these. People are. It's hard to like list. Layoffs because they happen all the time. Even even a small amount of layoffs gets some coverage. So
Right.
Layoffs are never good, but they, laying off, 10 people is different from laying off 800.
Right.
So, yeah. In terms of releases for August, let me push back. Did you have a news item you want to talk about for August before we move on to releases?
I'll just say this. The one thing in August that I'll never forget, it's not really a news release, it was more like a reveal, because that was with Gamescom. The Call of Duty gameplay reveal.
Oh, yeah. I remember
I just want to highlight this moment in history of the moment where I was like, we are so back to
it's so old.
It's ruined. It's over. It's so over. Yeah, exactly. Like the in a matter of less than 2 minutes was crazy. I'll never forget that type of it was just wild. And then I just want to call back to Call of Duty for what in the world were you thinking?
Yeah.
So
and we'll talk a little bit more about Call of Duty a little later. So, in terms of video game releases, I'm looking at this list, and it's not like a whole lot. Black Myth Wukong came out on Xbox. Gears of War, the Gears of War remaster came out on everything but Switch 2. Likewise, Helldivers 2 came out on Xbox. So, kind of a give and take there, I guess. The Switch 2 edition of Kirby and the Forgotten Land came out. So, Lost Soul Aside came out. Caleb, I'm sure you remember me being kind of excited about this because it was this guy in China, I believe, was like, fine, I'll do it myself because, Versus 13 was taking forever to come out.
Right.
Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater Delta came out. So, obviously, more tepid, I would say, more of like, not like these major hype moments, but there was, to quote IGN, there's a little something for everyone.
Yeah.
So, Caleb, did you have any games that you played in August? Okay.
So this is where August was quite a big month for me. August, I was simultaneously playing like 4 to 5 different games at once. So it was kind of a crazy time. I was in the middle of playing catch up is what I was doing. And it was also in the heat of like the hype of the football season starting up.
Yep.
So like I was playing college football, um, quite significantly from EA college football from 25. I won't get if I'm getting a football game, I'm not going to go back to back years on
Oh,
something.
sure.
So there's not enough change, if that makes sense. But that said, I was really focused in on, like the fun casual game was college football, but I was really focused in on trying to get Final Fantasy 3 done, and then start like actually working on Tales of Berseria, and then that was like the time where I was really focusing on both of them. Um, the like the I managed to get Final Fantasy 3 done during this time, and that. But Tales obviously took me a few months. Tales took longer than I had anticipated, I guess, or I don't know why, but I guess. Well, even that's why, because it was like I think how long did we put it, like within 30 to 60 hours, and I was like 65 hours or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Like I was even past the 60 mark, and you know, I guess I wasn't expecting that. And if I, in retrospective, if I had known that it was going to be such a bigger chunk, I probably would have just focused that entirely on Tales
Sure.
in August. But I thought I could do both at the same time. Um, and yeah, no, I got Final Fantasy 3 done during this time. It's not on my list, but it was I mean it's a Final Fantasy game, so I'm going to enjoy it either way. But
Yeah.
it is definitely my least favorite.
Oh, okay.
It's just in general so far of any Final Fantasy game I've played. Um, the magic system or lack thereof is atrocious. Uh, there's no ethers, which I don't get at all. Um, the job system is terrible. Like I shouldn't say terrible, but like it ruined, because in Final Fantasy 2, it started to do like more dimensional characters, and like actually you could tell who's like they actually felt like actual characters, whereas in Final Fantasy 3 you get these four standard party members that are just, you create the names for them, which is fine. But then you get there's like a job system and everything that really like kind of makes them different, but like it doesn't feel like it's like enriched within the story, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Um, narratively wise, and obviously they bring back the crystals more heavily in this one, and they also did more world exploration. So there's some good things about Final Fantasy 3, but in general, it was not my favorite, so to speak, as
Yeah.
far as that goes. But so yeah, that's largely what I played during this time.
Okay. I did forget to mention one release. It is a pretty major one, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Drag X Drive.
I'm not even sure if I'm familiar
You
with
can
that
hear a
one.
tumbleweed. No, it's the the wheelchair basketball game that Nintendo released.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, that it did absolute gangbusters, best-selling game of the year, top-rated game of the year. No, yeah, it was one of those like weird Nintendo projects that everybody is like, yeah, you just did this so you could show off a new function for your controller, huh?
Right.
And then you move
Uh-huh.
on.
Well, I mean, it was very much. Oh, that looks fun to play. I would never pay full price for something like that.
Yeah.
And sadly, that goes into the category. Oh, if it's free, maybe I'll give it a shot. If
Yep.
that sounds bad, but it's kind of true.
Yeah. Yeah, I know for sure. So in August, I played, and this is in my top four. I played the 100 Line Last Defense Academy. So I've talked about it. I've talked about it on the show before, but it's it's very much in the sort of spirit of Danganronpa, and it was sort of the creators of Danganronpa and AI the Somnium Files kind of came together, and this was the brainchild. And I really loved it. I'm not a huge visual novel guy. Obviously, there's some like strategy, like Fire Emblem ish elements to it, but that stuff really takes a backseat to the visual novel storytelling stuff. And yeah, I really loved 100 Line. I think it's one of those games that is really striking in like the opening hours, and then you're like, man, I just have so many questions. I want to see what the answers are. I think, but I think the thing that struck me the most, and I'm sure I talked about this when I talked about it earlier in the year. The thing that struck me the most was like just the amount of like the way that it utilized tropes as a way to hide certain things. So like they use this like, I think, one of the early ones is like, okay, there's this post-apocalypse, and humanity has escaped underground, right? And that is I'll spoil it. That is a lie in the game. Like, I won't tell you in what way that is a lie. In part because if I remembered the story well enough, I could probably pick out a reason for that lie that is itself a lie, because the game world builds itself around these lies. And so I just think, regardless of the like, it was one of those experiences where I was like, yeah, this is really fun, and I'm glad I played it. I was also a little sad because I was like, I know I just do not have the time to sink into every single little like minutia, because it's a choice blade. It's called the 100 Line Last Defense Academy for a reason. It has 100 different endings. Yeah, and so it's one of those things where it's like there is like a quote unquote like true ending, so to speak. And I saw a bunch of the endings, but just like the sheer amount of endings, I was like, yeah, I don't really have the the wherewithal or the energy to do all of this, even though I did kind of want to.
Right.
So I think that's kind of the one thing. Like I don't think you have to. Obviously, it's in my top four for the year. So I don't think you have to get all of them to enjoy it. but I think it's definitely one thing where I'm like, man, there really is like a bevy of content, and there is, I think, like once you see at least one ending, I think it's probably worth having like a guide or something, just so you can. Although the game does a pretty decent job, anyways, of doing that, uh, so yeah, that's one of my top four. I think so. I think I'm two down, two to go, and I think you're one down, three to go.
Two to go.
Oh, you.
Yeah, I'm two down, two to go.
FF2 and what was the other one that you talked about?
Split Fiction.
Split Fiction. Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yep. Split Fiction sits at the number 2 spot, and FF2 is at 3.
Yeah.
So technically I'm getting a 1 and 4.
So, in September, EA decided to go private and sell themselves to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Now, once again, there's a lot of like social stuff with Saudi Arabia that we are not going to talk about. But I will say it is incredibly controversial even within EA for them to make this move. Privatizing, I don't think anybody's going to be like inherently against a company privatizing on like a moral ground necessarily. But I think them getting sold to Saudi Arabia is like internally controversial as well as externally. You only need to look at the like Riyadh Comedy Fest or whatever. I don't remember what it was called, to see how the general public feels about a move like this. So, EA being potentially under new management, obviously I think they're still, it hasn't like automatically gone through. So it's not a sure thing, but
right.
But
well, those mergers take time.
Yeah, they take time, and I'm gonna say nothing like Xbox managed to buy Activision Blizzard. Saudi Arabia can buy EA. Like I don't think it's that I don't think it's that difficult. So yeah, Caleb, how do you feel about this one?
It's this is kind of like EA is kind of equivalent to, I guess my feeling of Warner Brothers this year.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
I don't like where they're landing, and I don't know how it's going to affect the industry. And I guess that's what makes it scary.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like one of those things. Again, it's still got to get through the works. Things can change, but EA is such a tough company as is to just really try to wrap your brain around.
Yeah, I mean that company feels like it's stabilized because remember it got voted like worst company of the year,
right?
Just like in general, at one point. So like in some ways it feels like it's turned itself around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I really only care about EA for Star Wars Jedi, or the Jedi
Yeah.
Cal Kestis games.
Same.
So I'm not like like personally super invested in this. I think it's more interesting as a like industry move, because like what does an EA, you know, EA is one of the biggest publishers on the planet. What does EA under Saudi Arabia, how does that shift things? Because I think it's pretty obvious to say like cultural differences abound. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I think it's interesting. But I don't necessarily think it's inherently like doom and gloom for EA, but I'm also not like super confident about
Yeah. I'm not really that confident about it either, to be honest.
yeah. Yeah.
I
Which
feel
I
like
think is
it's a way. I feel like it's a way to really split up that company,
yeah.
like to make it into smaller companies and kind of really kind of dismantle it from the ground up. But we'll see.
In terms of like announcement events and stuff, there wasn't like a whole lot. Uh there was a Tokyo Game Show.
Yep.
Kingdom Hearts was not there.
Nope. And I made a fool of myself for
yeah.
believing in it.
As always.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, how long have I had this avatar?
Yep. So I think in terms of news, uh, trying to think of. I want to make sure I don't pass over the Xbox news, but I'm not sure it was in. Okay, it wasn't in September. When did the layoffs happen though? Here we go. Oh yeah, the massive layoffs happened in July, but then there's one more like piece of news to kind of cap off the year that we'll get to next month.
Gotcha.
In terms of releases, uh, September, you know, it's the start of the like major fall release schedule. So I'm sure I'm gonna have like a lot to mention. Caleb, do you want to say anything about games you played this year before I start rattling stuff off?
Uh, so September was filled with. So after I got done with Final Fantasy 3, I was still going back and forth with Tales, and then I did Final Fantasy 4 at that point. Um, blew through Final Fantasy 4.
Yeah.
That game is my number one of the year.
Okay.
I really loved that game. It was fun. As far as the pixel remasters go, that one so far like you know haven't played them all, but I'm just saying like of everything to that point, that was peak. The story, like it combined elements of Final Fantasy 2 that I really love, and the elements of Final Fantasy 1, and just kind of like picked up all the good things about the first three and made it into this one. Like they got rid of the job system that I couldn't stand, and it was very much focused on characters. It was a rotating roster. You know, there was a lot of stakes. There was people characters were dying in that. Like it was so good, and I'm a sucker for a story where you don't know what you're doing. Like you're a part of something, and then realize that they're that they're the bad guys. So like that type of trope,
Oh, we're the
I
bad
really
guys.
love. Yeah, exactly. And it's just, um, yeah, it's a really good story. It's fun. Um, and the world explorations is by far the best. Environments are really well done. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's perfect as far as those pixel remasters go. Really well paced as far as they go that, because I mean I got that done within 20 hours, not even.
Wow. Yeah.
Which kind of
Do the
says more to
Just out of
what was
curiosity, do the ports have like speed up options?
they do. I mean,
Okay.
they do have it with fights. So to
Oh,
be
okay.
fair, and then I'm also working with a guide. To be
Oh,
fair,
sure. Yeah.
but I mean, it didn't take me long to beat Final Fantasy IV. I wasn't expecting to beat Final Fantasy IV in September, but I did.
Yeah.
But that really freed up uh, Tales for me. I also played Madden
Oh, yeah.
in Madden 26 in September as well. I never really talked about it on a podcast. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
yeah. There's
It's Madden.
it's Madden. It's good. It's long time coming. I really wanted it, and yeah, I mean it's everything that I like about College Football 25. For Madden 26 this year, that seems like the common denominator is that College Football 26 is not as good as Madden 26 this year, so I
Oh,
chose
okay.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I'm probably not getting another football game for another 5 years at least.
Okay.
So that's just how I go with those games.
So, yeah, a lot came out in September, at least that I played. I'm gonna skip one, uh, but that doesn't mean I have nothing to talk about. So, one of the big ones that I played was Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and it's not in my top 4, so I won't go on too long about it.
Well,
But,
I mean it's not surprising, but
yeah, I will say, I think it's so good to see Sonic in a good place as just a franchise. I think bringing back characters like Jet the Hawk and the Chaotix all being playable again, super fun. The character interactions personally I think are top notch. Like Jet the Hawk has some like absolute there's a popular Sonic uh YouTuber who called him a demon, and I was like, yeah, that's right. Like I think he calls Amy the fourth wheel, and I was like, dude, that's like oof. And Amy just has nothing. She had nothing for it, and I was like, that is a murdering on in at the starting line right there.
yeah.
The actual mechanics are really fun. I think it was also nice because I did play a bunch of Mario Kart World. I think the nice thing about Cross Worlds was that it was a very like by the numbers arcade racer in terms of the tracks, or in terms of like the way the game was structured. The tracks, obviously, like the Crossworlds gimmick, changes things up. I think there are a fair number of people who prefer that to the intermissions in Mario Kart World, but uh, it's a gimmick. So yeah, I really like Crossworlds, and I was like, yeah, if we're gonna get this, consistent quality Sonic releases, because this is a major improvement from Team Sonic Racing. So yeah, I was really happy with that game. In terms of other notable releases, Silent Hill F was a big one that people really seem to love. Hades 2 came out of early access and was a really beloved sequel. I believe the first for that studio, actually. Um, what else? And then yeah, I will say there was one September release that did make its way into my top four, and that would be Hollow Knight Silk Song. And what a surprise that is to me, looking back on it. I think it is genuinely shocking, for me. I didn't number my list, and I'm not sure, mostly because I'm not sure how I would number my list.
That's fair. I had a little bit of difficulty myself.
I will say I think this is probably, it's one of those things where it's like there are two games tied for second place. So if Clair Obscur is in first place, there are two games that are like basically tied for second place.
Yep.
And then Silk Song, I guess, is kind of how I would put it, and then Sanabi. But still, regardless, it's still a surprise to me that I think that I enjoyed this game that much. When I rolled credits the first time, so you can roll credits on the game without seeing everything, because and I mean in terms of story, you can roll credits without seeing absolutely everything, because there's like, if you do like most of the side quests in acts 1 and 2, you like unlock act 3, and it like changes the map around, and there's whole other areas and yada yada. And I think act 3 really solidified Silk Song for me, because the first two acts are good, like really really good. But I have issues, like I've said this a million times at this point, like I'm not a 2D Metroidvania guy. I'm not like super locked in on like difficulty. I think some of the Silk Song's runbacks are just atrocious. And like I'm already somebody who hates running back to bosses, so I just so yeah, it takes something special to kind of break through all of that, and I think Silk Song in the third act really, like, Silk Song and Hollow Knight as stories are what I wish FromSoft stories were, like, because they still have that like minimalist quality. They're a little self-important, maybe, like this sort of like you know very little in the way of dialogue, but compared to a FromSoft game, Silk Song is quite verbose. Like there's a lot of people to talk to. Hornet actually has like a character arc. The player character in FromSoft games just kind of runs around killing people and maybe helping them sometimes. Like there's not a character there; it's just the avatar for the player. So I think Silk Song really good. And then it also, like, it doesn't like overindulge, but it
Mhm.
is a sequel to Hollow Knight in important ways, I think.
Gotcha.
Like I think especially in Act 3, I
Yeah.
think it is a true sequel to Hollow Knight, and I was like genuinely thrilled. I was like, because I was like, there's no way they're gonna pay off some of these things, and then they did,
Mhm.
and I was like, yes, thank you, you paid it off, and it makes me, and I hate to rag on FromSoft again, but it makes me look at Shadow of the Erd Tree, which is completely disconnected from base game Elden Ring, except for like some lore stuff, and I'm like, why did this happen? Like what? Like we couldn't have changed some areas around. We couldn't have added a new ending. Like what's going on here?
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, Silk Song, really really good game. Uh, I think maybe the commitment to difficulty was a little overzealous.
Mhm.
But uh, but yeah, no doubt that Team Cherry are like they stand alone. Like even
Mhm.
you know even a developer like Sandfall feels like a part of the video game industry. They might be like rebellious in their nature, but they're still
Mhm.
like they feel like they went to the game awards, they were there, they accepted the awards, they sort of fit in the context. Team Cherry feels like they're like aliens in the video game industry. They just kind of
Mhm.
they just drop a video game and then leave for 7 years and then come back. Um,
Yeah.
so so yeah,
And they really did
I
this time.
yeah, they did. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I mean the fact that they announced the release date 2 weeks out from their trailer was
Mhm.
like, I was like, whoa, that's man, oh man. So yeah, that was most of September for me. Uh, so yeah, moving on to October.
Mhm.
Uh, so in October is when we mentioned this earlier, but October is when Xbox doubled the price of Game Pass Ultimate.
Mhm.
Um, the and I think that really kind of, in terms of like the huge video game industry news stories, I think that kind of I think that ties a nice loop on the whole like pricing discussion.
Yeah.
uh, because it was then for me that it became clear that if I ever wanted to recommend getting into video games, no longer could I recommend Xbox, and no longer could I recommend the current generation. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that is deeply sad because I think there are always fantastic new games coming out every month. Um,
Mhm.
and you know, Game Pass, you could maybe argue, is not essential to like the Xbox platform, but the Game Pass library is really solid. And Game
Mhm.
Pass Ultimate, the main feature is day one AAA Xbox releases,
Mhm.
including Call of Duty.
Yep.
And for me, bumping all the way to. Sorry, let me math real quick. I have to make sure I don't say the wrong number. Okay. Bumping from $180 a year, which pays for a little bit under three $70 games.
Yep.
Up to 360 games, which is five, give or take.
Yeah.
A little over five. A little over five $60 games. $70 games. Most people do not buy that many games a year, period.
No. Nope.
Like forget indie games, just video games.
Mm-hmm.
Most gamers do not buy that many new releases at all.
Nope.
So the value add for Game Pass has to be more. It has to be more than online, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be access to games. But people,
Right.
most people aren't me, right? Most people aren't like I you know, I play video games the way a college film student might try to watch every movie, right? Like ask me how I know. Like I wasn't
Which
that,
try to talk about Ezra.
I wasn't that film student. I knew a lot of film students.
Yeah.
You weren't quite as bad as Ahmad. Ahmad saw it.
No. It was an incredible commitment, though.
Yeah.
I'll give him
and yeah, no. I it's not to diss college students, right? It's just like the you know, I just recognize that I am an irregularity, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's just really important. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like Xbox completely misread the room, right? And it's an attempt to make Xbox profit or Game Pass profitable, right? But yeah, I just still feel like, man, oh man, like it's just not. It just wasn't the right move, and now it's so hard. Because before I would be like, yeah, I think actually an Xbox Series S and Game Pass probably the best value for video games.
I thought the same thing too. Yeah.
If I weren't pretty set on like, yeah, Nintendo and Sony have the games that I want, I probably would have migrated over to Xbox come the PS5, Xbox Series X generation. But here we are, right? Like there's pretty much zero reason to buy into Xbox. And you know, whether or not PlayStation Plus Premium is similarly valuable to you is, I think, perfectly valid question. The problem is PlayStation did not build their entire identity around their subscription service.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Caleb, I'm interested to hear if you have. I think you're echoing a lot of what I'm saying, but I'm interested to hear if you have other takes.
Not really. I do like your last point of it. You know, Sony didn't make it their entire identity, right? And you know, we've been talking about the big thing that's happened this year is Microsoft doesn't know what their identity is, you know, and I couldn't really tell you what their identity is when they're going multi-platform. They're basic, and you talk about the price of Xbox Game Pass, but all their stuff is now becoming more and more accessible outside of the Xbox console itself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Halo, which I think got announced by this point,
Yeah. The
you
Halo
know,
remake. Halo 1 remake.
is going to be on. It's going to be on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like the appeal of going out to go buy an Xbox, and then to get Game Pass on top of that. Well, yes, that is very smart to get initially.
Yeah.
I don't see the value in it anymore.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is like, talking about identity, right? A lot of this is wrapped up in like the game streaming wars, right?
Yep.
Um, the problem with that is that video game streaming on your phone sucks,
Yeah.
right? The like most people do not have the internet for that. Like maybe I do. Like maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like wired up. That's me wired up. I'm like maybe I could do it. Like maybe it would work.
Right.
But not like that's not like earnestly like yeah, I could stream Game Pass games like no problem. Like no, like that's I feel stupid even thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like game streaming does not unlock a demographic right now, right? Like maybe at some point if the internet improves, if ISPs start behaving, which that's a whole other
Mm-hmm.
conversation. But the fact of the matter is like Xbox, it feels like Xbox was late to the game streaming game because PlayStation had PlayStation Now well before
Mm-hmm.
Xbox came onto the scene. PlayStation Now never like overtook Sony the way that Xbox made Xbox streaming like their big push. And now
Right.
with their, everything is an Xbox thing, like
Yeah.
it's novel. I'll give them that. Like it seems like an interesting idea at least. But
Mm-hmm.
like you're like nobody thinks about like Amazon Luna as this pillar of Amazon's gaming
Mm-hmm.
division, right? Like the only thing anybody cares about Xbox's or Amazon's gaming division is their like actual releases. And they still release those natively on like PC and consoles. So like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, again, the idea of like making everything an Xbox is like I commend Phil Spencer for the sentiment,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I don't think he's like an evil genius who's like, yes, I'm going to ruin the Xbox brand and make people pay lots of money. Like I don't think he's like twirling his mustache, right? I
Right.
don't know the guy. Maybe he is. He doesn't have a mustache. Um, but I do think it's incredibly misguided at best. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and and it's just like I do not. Here I am ranting again. I didn't realize I still felt so strongly. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like I love this hobby. I love video games,
Right.
and I sympathize with like video games have always felt to the people that I think would appreciate them the most have always felt incredibly inaccessible. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe that's a culture thing because I grew up as like a homeschooled Catholic. Well, partially. It was like half and half. And like and I just lots of families who just sort of like mom and dad did not have any concept of video games, and I'm like, I love video games and I want to share this with people, but I just do not have, there's no like way to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I truly do sympathize with the mission statement, and if and maybe in another timeline $30 for Game Pass Ultimate makes sense. I just cannot wrap my head around it other than somebody at some point pulled the lever and said it's time for Game Pass to make money, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing, right? Because I doubt they were making money, and like
Yeah.
that's kind of the risk you run. Like it is hard. That's it, hate to say it, $1 trillion company. Like, sorry, the number's not going up in this one sector of your business. Um, so yeah, that's I'm I have once again uh I do feel very very strongly about this because I think, in part because
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't just speak to video games, it speaks to everything, right? Like you were talking
Right.
about earlier, you don't have a Switch 2. Maybe you would by now if
Right.
society would behave. um and so yeah, and I mean I think for me it was this announcement that like activated a lot of those feelings for me.
Yeah.
So um so yeah, before I move on to releases, which are a brighter spot for sure, do you want to say anything about news in October?
No, there's not really much outside of that I would think.
Okay. I'm also going to open the floor if I believe you have one more game, and I believe October was the month for this game. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It was tech. I could do it for October. I mean, I had Tails for full time at this point.
Yeah, yeah,
After I
yeah,
got done with Final Fantasy 4, I was like, okay, that's enough. Like
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
the like I'm realizing the length of the game and how far I am. No, we're pushing through it. And technically I didn't finish it in October, but I'm willing to just mm,
We'll save it for November.
yeah, yeah.
Because I have something I can talk about in October. Um, in terms of my top four at least.
Mhm.
So yeah, October is always like a toss up. Like, is November gonna be bigger or is October gonna be bigger? Like it's
Right.
always the people are always it's always like an argument. So we had a Pokemon game release in October, Pokemon Legends ZA.
Yep.
I'm not sure I talked a whole lot about it. I played it. I enjoyed my time with it. It was kind of just like the same thing over and over and over again, and then the story
Yeah.
ends. And then they also like they keep having these like animated, like fully animated cutscenes
Mhm.
where the characters like talk to each other, and there's text on the screen, but there's no voice acting, not even like a Japanese dub, and it's just incredibly off-putting. uh so
Yeah,
yeah,
that would be yeah.
I have mixed feelings about the game. I have mixed feelings about the DLC because it feels like, again, the same thing over and over and over again. I haven't beaten the DLC though, so you know take my word with a grain of salt, I guess. I reviewed Digimon Story Time Stranger for RP Gamer. That was probably the biggest of my 2025 reviews. I guess maybe you could say Tales of Xillia Remastered was bigger, but I don't know. That's splitting hairs, I think. What else? Ball Pit was a game that came out that people really loved. I find it hard to describe, but it's very much in the like vein of like Balatro and like Vampire Survivors, of just that like dopamine rush. What else? The Outer Worlds 2 came out. People thought that was a significant improvement over the first game, for the most part, at least. Although the reviewer for RP Gamer did not enjoy it. I remember I did I proof that review? I don't know if I proofed it, but I definitely like looked at the score and I was like, oof. I was like, geez. All right. As I said, Tales of Xillia Remastered came out. That was a big one. Arc Raiders that was a big one. Was a really big extraction shooter that came out. And that kind of opened the door to a huge like AI conversation that Sven Vinke went on to stoke the fires of, because Arc Raiders has AI voice lines, and they did it, it sounds like, if you can do it the right way, Arc Raiders did it the right way, in terms of like getting actors consent and everything kind of being signed off and all that stuff. But to a lot of people, I think you're generally gonna find some distaste about that sort of thing. Ninja Gaiden 4 came out. People were really happy. I think generally speaking, anybody who isn't like miserable about character action games enjoyed it. Battlefield 6 came out, and ate Call of Duty's lunch. And for me, because of Digimon, I think. You know what it was? I reviewed in September. I reviewed Demon X Machina, which I neglected to mention in September, in part because it's not all that. Wasn't all that much for me. It didn't really take up much of my brain space. But then I went straight from that into Digimon, and so I didn't really have like a lot of time for like Ezra having fun time. So in October I finally got around to playing, like in earnest playing, The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky first chapter, which is going to be my fourth of 4. And I think given the day, I think it sort of slightly edges out 100 line for me. But again, it's really close. And yeah, I really love Trails in the Sky first chapter. I still think, having played every single mainline Trails game, I still think the Sky, the first 2 Sky games are my favorite arc as a complete package. Um, Obviously, I'll say this. Beyond the Horizon is starting to make the argument. The arc isn't over yet, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But it's starting to make that argument. Um, but uh, the I think I really love the original Trails in the Sky,
Yeah.
especially Trails in the Sky's second chapter. I think that game is just an absolute banger. Um, this game is not second chapter, so I can't speak on the remake that is definitely going to come out this year. They've confirmed
Right.
that. But as a remake of Trails in the Sky first chapter, that game nails everything it needs to nail. It's one of those things where I look at it and I'm like, man, what would gaming discourse look like if Final Fantasy VII remake was this game? Because they decided to go in like a whole different direction with the
Gotcha.
FF7 remake. Because it's very
Yeah.
much not the original.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas Trails in the Sky first chapter is, pretty much beat for beat, bar for bar. They brought back the original voice cast, at least for most of the characters. The script. I don't know if the script is exactly the same, but it's the same story. It's the same everything. I think they added a few side quests and stuff. Like it's not like a top down. It's not like a completely different uh branch of the
Mm-hmm.
Trails series. It's just Trails in the Sky first chapter. And that game has one of the best narratives in terms of the like setup in a Trails game. Pretty much period. Because a lot of there are a lot of games that are kind of, I don't know if they're one-offs exactly, but they don't have like a cliffhanger or anything. This game has a cliffhanger. um and and yeah, I just think the game nails what it needs to nail. There are scenes that I was like, oh, maybe it's gonna lose some of its charm because it's not JPEGs moving around on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing a lot with a little, but they nailed it. Uh, I just think, and it's really nice to be able to say like, yep, start here, uh, because I think for the longest time, because the Sky games, there was a whole like kerfuffle with the
Mm-hmm.
Trails English localization, and it seems like there's still kind of one, but the result of that was the Sky games did not get ports to PS4 and Switch and all that stuff. And so it was always like, well, I guess you could start with Zero if you wanted to, or Cold Steel.
Mm-hmm.
You could start with Daybreak if you wanted to, even though it's like super far in. Like I, do your best, I guess. But no, now
Right.
it's just like start with Sky first chapter. It's an awesome game. Uh, maybe you'll like other games more, but it's still a fantastic video game. And yeah, and I think for me, Trails is very much filling a Kingdom Hearts sized hole in my heart. Um, Especially nowadays, I have played three Trails games in the span of like 7 months or something like that after Beyond the
Right.
Horizon. So like, I'm eating pretty good. I And I will say, like, if first chapter was this good, second chapter is gonna be really good. That game is gonna be awesome. So So yeah, Caleb, did you have anything you wanted to say about October before we move on?
Nope. I think I'm good with October.
Okay. November,
Hmm.
very much award season is beginning.
Yeah.
Uh, my goat Ben Starr is out there spitting fire at awards shows.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of news, there was one thing. Oh,
Yep.
GTA 6 got delayed. Uh, and it's funny we should be talking about this today
I
because
know. I was going to mention it
a
too.
bunch of reports have come out that Rockstar seems to be incredibly uncertain about whether or not it will actually make that date. Um, so it's just as I predicted. Uh, uh, so yeah, it
Despair.
yeah, despair,
Just
absolutely.
despair.
Um, there has been uh beneath the surface of the GTA 6 delays is like a weird thing where like 30 to 40 workers got fired.
Yep.
Um, and there seems to be an I don't know if there's an official investigation by the UK, uh,
Hmm.
but the uh, the reports do say that like the delay wasn't because of the firings,
Yeah.
which I think is a perfectly I think that makes sense. I think that is a I think that I have no issue believing people on that. I
Hmm.
this is GTA 6 is one of those games where I'm like it's gonna come out when it's gonna come out, and hopefully people like it. If not, it'll be fun to watch the fireworks, I guess. um,
It's
yeah.
going to be great. That's all I'll say. It's going to be great.
um, I believe it was also in November that Valve announced the Steam machine. Uh, which, if you remember back in the day, the Steam machine was a lineup that Valve tried to do. That they had like a weird controller, and I think it was just it was weird. It did not go well, but I think emboldened by the Steam Deck, Valve is trying again, and it's a square. It's a cube, so people are calling it the Gabe Cube. Uh,
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so yeah, I not much to say about it because we don't know really anything aside from price and specs.
Nope.
But Valve is a pretty big company, so they could afford to take
Yep.
some losses. Maybe they'll release at a decent price. I'm not gonna say that's gonna happen for sure because my God, look at
Yeah.
the price of RAM. But yeah, I just think I think this it's promising. I'm not gonna say it's definitely gonna be a success, but I think it's
Right.
it's promising. Um, yeah, before I move on to news, do you want to highlight anything else or talk about?
I just think it's devastating that GTA 6 is probably not coming out in 2026,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
hard to say for me. It's like every time when I feel like, oh, we're like 6 to 8 months from release, nope,
Nerp.
keeps getting taken away from me. So who knows? for all we know, it could be like they're not confident on the deadline that they just delay it by a month. For all we know,
Yeah.
maybe it's just that type of thing. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
We
disappointing
shall
to
see.
hear.
Yeah. No, I get you. In terms of game releases, there's not like a whole lot.
Mhm.
Uh, the the biggest one that's sticking out to me is actually Kirby Air Riders, um, which I've actually played. I don't know how much, I don't know how many hours, but I played a fair bit of it, and I enjoyed my time with it. It's definitely a Masahiro Sakurai game. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, and also certainly using Smash Bros as the graphical style.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, so it was fun. I think it was definitely like aimed at people who grew up with the original. Um, but yeah, that's kind of. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment came out. I have not played
Mhm.
that yet. I probably will at some point. I hear it actually fulfills the promise of being an actual prequel, whereas the one that came out for Breath of the Wild did not do that. Um, oh, what else? I feel like I'm forgetting something that came out in November, but maybe it was all just like the aftershocks of October this year. Uh, yeah, did you have
I'm trying.
anything you wanted to say about video games you played in November before we
Yeah.
mosey on over?
So, November was when I finished Tales of Berseria.
Yes.
It was it was a it's in the top, it's in that fourth spot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was it was a lot of fun. Um, the gameplay was a lot to get used to initially, but
Yeah.
really started to grow towards the end. Um, you know, I think makes the what really makes this game stand out is its story, and a lot of the character development with its large ensemble. Um, I think particularly the big thing for me in this game was its story length. Um, I think there's a good 10 hours that could have been cut in that game,
Sure.
um, that wasn't being prolonged. And um, so, yeah, I mean, I think it's got a little bit of a pacing issue, but for the most part, I really enjoyed it. Um, and, it's, it's definitely on my list with with all that in mind.
Yeah.
Um, I, uh, before I move on, is there anything you want to say about Tails before?
No, I just as one of the best parties from like a cast dynamic or
Right.
like a character dynamic perspective for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would echo that. It's the um I also started Final Fantasy 5 this month, like
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
November. Um and yeah, I didn't finish it in November. But yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
much it.
Um Yeah, so December was obviously the Game Awards. Claire Obscure absolutely swept. Uh, there was a pretty awesome performance of Un Via to Me,
Mm-hmm.
which, you know, I was glad to actually see. I think I was always saying, like, Jeff, if you know
Right.
ball, you better have this song at the Game Awards somewhere. And he
And they
did. So
opened with it.
and they opened with it, yeah. So
Yeah, like a cold open too,
good job,
which
Jeff.
was great.
Yeah. Um, hats off to you, sir. You have
Yep.
survived another year of me not absolutely hating you. He also opened the show on talking about like his dad dying, and I was like,
Yeah.
Jeff, you can't make me cry this
Yep.
fast. Like, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to tear up about video games this fast, man. Um, because he always does that. He always does that once per show. He's always like,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna cry at you," and I'm
He
like,
does have that. Yep.
"You're not allowed to do that, man." Um, no, it was good. Um, in terms of releases, the two biggest that I saw were Octopath Traveler 0, which people seem to really like. Maybe not as much as 2, but people really enjoyed it.
Right.
And it's also like an apparently it's like an adaptation of the mobile game that came out, which is like I was like, why did they release an Octopath mobile game? Like what are we doing with that? Um,
Right. 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 Yep. It is.
um, the other big thing was Metroid Prime 4 Beyond finally released. That game had been in development since 2017. That is an 8-year
Mhm.
development cycle. Uh,
Yikes.
and they restarted development under Retro in 2019, so that's a 6-year development cycle. Uh, so yeah, I haven't played it. I don't really intend to because I haven't played the other Metroid games. Uh, I'm sure I would enjoy the Metroid Prime series because they're in 3D, and I have never been opposed to 3D Metroidvanias because I like Zelda games. um, but yeah, I think for me, I think the it was funny because it was most of the online discourse was about like the writing, and like the like very millennial Joss Whedon coded characters that
Right.
people are just sick to death of characters being like characters like fanboying in the middle
Yeah.
of the story.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know, Caleb. Do you have before I move on to our final little topic here? Do you have anything you want to talk about with Metroid?
Uh. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Uh. All I know is just a lot of the open world aspect of it
Oh yeah,
with the motorcycle was quite a stir
yeah.
amongst players.
People were not a fan of that, which I think is interesting because it to me it sounded like it's sort of like Ocarina of Time has the Hyrule field
Yep.
that
Yep.
goes into all of the different areas, and I'm like, oh, like why didn't people like that? But again, haven't
Yeah.
played it, can't really speak on it. Um, so at the Game Awards, Swem Vinky or no, it's not at the Game Awards. Swen Vinky gives an interview, and oh no, sorry, I know where I was heading with this whole Game Awards thing. At the Game Awards, Divinity gets announced, and
Mm-hmm.
if you know anything about anything, Baldur's Gate 3 absolutely crushed 2023, in at least critically and commercially, probably. And Larian announced Divinity at the Game Awards. Uh, Super striking CG trailer. Uh, Swen Vinky goes on to give an interview with Jason Schreier, and in it, he talks about how his company is exploring the use of AI, uh,
Oh yeah.
and and mentions how they're using it with concept art. Now, my understanding is that he was more talking about using AI to like as like a functionally a Google search, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but people took this and ran with it. It's an absolute firestorm. Um, and I mentioned with Arc Raiders AI, and I don't want to get like too in the weeds on the ethics of AI because for me it's super complicated. Um, but I do want to say like this was the year where it's like okay, yeah, we're starting to see generative AI make its way into the games industry, right? And uh, the thing that I've heard is like, yeah, everybody's using it, right? Like, there's not like most companies are using
Mm-hmm.
AI in some way, shape, or form, generative AI in
Right.
some way, shape, or form, right? Because machine learning and all that stuff has been a part of video games for forever, right? Like that's not
Right.
that like, and I think it was never controversial under that in that way. It
Umbrella.
was
Yeah.
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 Once it started to do voice acting and generate images is when it started to become controversial.
Right.
Um, which is totally fair. The data like scraping artists and
Yeah.
using voice actors without their consent, like all this stuff. All this is perfectly valid to have concerns about. Like I don't want to like,
Right.
I don't want to dismiss those. I do want to say that I think uh, the firestorm around Swen Vinky, who I think Skill Up said it best, like absolutely deserves some grace in this topic. Like this is not a guy who is going to fire artists so that he can save a buck
Right.
on Divinity. Like that's not what's going to happen. Divinity is probably going to be an absolute banger when it comes out. I'm probably going to get it day one, which I didn't do with Baldur's Gate 3.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like I just bring all this up to say like I guess as like if cost was the theme of 2025, I have a
Right.
feeling that AI is going to be the theme of 2026 in terms of video games.
Yeah.
Uh, so, Caleb, I'll give the floor to you to speak on some of that.
It's when used as a tool, AI can be effective, especially when you're building from the ground up. It could be a helpful starting point. It's like you said, when it gets to a point where it affects a person's job, or
Yeah,
is you know taking away, it's doing things without other actors' consent, or there's just that's the dangers of it, and that's partly, when we are talking about the strikes earlier, that's why those, you know, there was
Yeah.
so much fight for getting restrictions on it, and
Yeah.
you know, but in this context, in what what these developers are getting at, it's more building. It was being used as a framework, or in some ways like placeholders,
Yeah.
to get actual refinement to start. Um, that's a whole other different context, and you know,
Yeah.
people who think that is in the same context of the severities of AI.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and like, yeah, Expedition 33 caught some
Right.
of this fire too, right? Because people were experimenting with AI in 2022, right? Like that, like, because
Yeah.
nobody had, there wasn't this like understanding of like the line hadn't been drawn between AI good and AI bad yet,
Yeah.
right? Like it just hadn't. And so like we we have misgivings about these things for valid reasons, but nobody is like looking at any of this critically, right? Like nobody's examining things for what they are, and I think I think partially because all of this is taking place online, like pretty much none of AI is at home really.
Hmm.
Like you can run a like chat gpt locally, I think,
Right. Right. Right.
but I think for the most part it's all like taking place on the internet. So I think it's a bunch of like chronically online people who are already like so used to like digging their heels in are just like unable to see the forest for the trees on this.
Right.
um so yeah, I just think I am a little afraid of like, oh, my favorite gaming franchises are just being gonna get fed into OpenAI and
Right.
then it'll spit out something that is just a soulless husk. Like, I'm
Right.
like afraid of every Sonic game and every Zelda game and every, Trails game and Kingdom Hearts game, all this stuff. I'm afraid of it becoming the Flash, right? Like I'm genuinely afraid of that. Has that actually happened yet? No, right?
Hmm.
And we shall see. Do I trust regulators to actually do anything about this? No, but I do trust the market to some degree because it seems like AI has been pretty unsuccessful so far.
Hmm.
Music seems to be the only place where it's seen a modicum of success, but I don't even know. I don't know what the measure for success looks like. So
Right.
I'm hesitant to speak on that. But yeah, I think it's gonna be the theme for 2026, and like it or
Yeah.
not, I guess. So yeah, Caleb. To end on maybe a more positive note, what are you looking forward to in 2026 with video games? Maybe not even releases, just like what are your plans?
Right. Well, I mean, Final Fantasy is going to get really moving now. Like that train is
Uh-huh.
like it's in full swing. It's accelerating. Um, I I finished Final Fantasy 5
Okay.
uh, a few weeks ago, and I'll save that review for a later time because I want to go a little bit more in depth about it.
Yeah.
Um, just because I think now I'm at a point where each Final Fantasy game is going to probably have some decent things like a good
Sure, yeah.
chunk to talk about. Um, I'm also halfway through Final Fantasy 6 at this point.
Okay.
So I'm really moving on that.
Caleb's gonna start having more video games than me to talk about.
Yeah. I'm hoping to, I mean, this stuff is just in the immediate, you know, uh, I'm going to be starting a few things this weekend that, um, I think, you know, I'll be
Yeah.
starting a few things this weekend that'll be fun to talk about soon. But I'll keep that a mystery to our listeners. Um, but i- as far as 2026 goes, it's going to be really filled with Final Fantasy again this year. Um, Now, once I get done with six and these fun little side projects that I'll be doing, I'll be moving into my mystery game, which I already
Ooh.
have planned out, and then I will either I'll play seven, like, because seven I'm only going to be playing a small portion of, um, just
Mm-hmm.
for the sake of, I want to feel it, but like I don't want to like actually play seven. Um,
Yeah.
I'd rather finish out the remake trilogy in general and then go back to it. So I'll either squeeze in seven before I do the mystery game or slightly after, and then go into eight. But yeah, I'm at this point I'm in like the era of fans goats as far as the Final Fantasy games go. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
very excited. As far as 2026 goes, it's going to be a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I have pretty much the entire series at this point collected
Oh, okay.
and ready to go.
Nice.
So it's very nice, including 13. I got the 13 trilogy over the
Oh,
holidays. I'm very happy about that. So
nice. How are you gonna play it?
I'm a dust off the PS3.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I'm gonna take it out of storage. I never got rid of it on purpose, so
Okay.
just needed the games to do it. So
uh, yeah. Nice. That's cool. For me, 2026. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. Fire Emblem is kind of the only thing that I'm
mm,
like I'm like for sure on. Like I'm excited about Fire Emblem. The
right,
rest of 2026, I legitimately just like blank space. Like I just have
yeah,
not researched. Maybe a few weeks ago I would have said yeah. Like I'm like, all right, I'm pretty hyped for Trails Beyond the Horizon. Uh,
yeah,
but I got that. I think I got that review before the demo, the code before the demo dropped.
hmm,
Um, so I was pretty maybe not. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly how the timeline played out. Anyways,
right,
so I'm pretty free. I'm hoping for I'm excited. It's Sonic's 35th anniversary this year, I
yep,
believe. So I hope that they do a concert tour. Um,
ooh,
I uh, Other than that, honestly, I again I'm gonna be paying. I have my nose. I have my ear to the ground. Like I'm gonna be playing all sorts of games. I just don't know exactly what
yeah,
they are yet. Uh, I haven't started God of War yet.
hmm.
I will. I'm not avoiding it.
Oh,
I
you're
just like
fine.
I haven't gotten like I haven't like had the point where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna start this like in
Right.
earnest yet. So that's next on the horizon for me in terms of like what I'm actually playing.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's really blank. I'll probably be catching up on like some 2025 stuff that I missed. Uh, my little brother and I are just about on the cusp of finishing Naruto. So
Hmm.
he and I are going to be moving on to. I think we're going to watch My Hero Academia next.
Hmm.
Uh, because he was like, "Hey, have you watched My Hero Academia?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have." And he was like, "Oh, I kind of want to watch that." And I was like, "I guess we have our next thing."
You're right.
Uh, so yeah, that's kind of like what I have to look forward to in 2026. So yeah, it's kind of weird because like you have your whole like you have like a schedule, and I'm just
I
like,
do.
yeah, God of War is coming out, Fire Emblem will come out at some point. Like I'm kind of like what's happening. I guess Trails in the Sky second chapter obviously is another like when that comes. I don't know when that's coming out, but like uh there's some. I guess it's mostly just like I there's a lot of stuff that like either hasn't been announced or doesn't have a release date, and
Yeah.
so I'm just kind of like, well, it'll happen when it happens, I guess. uh, and then obviously all of this Kingdom Hearts 4 notwithstanding, right? Because Kingdom Hearts 4
Right.
gets a release date, and the entire podcast bends to its will.
Yeah. It'll be a fun time.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll just it'll be a pretty rapid like, all right, Kingdom Hearts 4 got announced. All right, we're 13. We're how many months away? All right, Kingdom Hearts 1 is this week.
Yep. At, exactly. At least in hindsight, um we went a few years without like making the entire show off the rails.
Yeah,
Kingdom
it's
Hearts.
it's honestly, yeah, it's deeply impressive. Like I'm
Right.
gonna be honest. Last time you brought Chain of Memories to the bracket, and I was like, Caleb, what are you doing? mostly because I was just like, you're gonna open this can of worms now, like, uh,
Leave it dormant. Leave it dormant.
um, so yeah, we have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Good, yeah, like once that first trailer drops, we'll be talking about it. It'll be the first like it's not a trailer watch, it's a watch trailer. Uh,
Yeah.
um so yeah, that's kind of where our heads are at for 2026. We're gonna be doing we'll probably have something a little different for you next time around.
Yep.
But
Not fully planned out yet, but we have an idea of what we're gonna do.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, Caleb, anything you want to say to close out 2025?
Um. No, just Happy New Year.
All right, Happy New Year, and we're sorry we liked that.